Some of the most powerful moves in Street Fighter 6 are universal among every character, and they all utilize the drive system. It's extremely important to know how to use this meter effectively regardless of what character you end up choosing. So, let's take some time to dive into everything you can do with the drive system and break down why it's useful for you. First up, drive parries. There are two easy and common uses for drive parries. First, to block projectiles without losing drive meter. There's no chip damage unless you're burned out in Street Fighter 6. However, every time you block a special move, you will lose some of your drive meter. To avoid this, use drive parry to block them instead. It'll cost half a bar to go into the stance, but then when you absorb the attack, you'll gain it right back. The second is to block mix-ups. If your opponent is using ambiguous mix-ups on you that have you guessing between having to block high, low, left, or right, just use a drive parry and you'll cover all those options. The downside is that it gets beaten by throws, and if you get thrown while in this stance, you'll eat a lot more damage than normal, so just be aware of that risk. If you manage to get a perfect parry, which you get by parrying at the last possible millisecond and is indicated by this zoom in and slowdown effect, you can cancel into your next move, making it so that you can punish things that you normally wouldn't be able to punish. Perfect parrying projectiles will make it so that you don't get pushed back and will recover faster, making you able to close the distance much more quickly than if you were just blocking or using regular parries. Next up, we've got drive rushes. Drive rushes cause your character to flash green and then has them dashing forward at high speed. You can perform a drive rush in two ways. First, go into the drive parry stance and double tap forward. Doing it this way will only cost 1 bar of drive meter. The second way is by pressing forward twice during specific drive rush cancelable moves. These moves vary from character to character, so just test out each of your character's moves to find out which moves can do it. Doing a drive rush this way costs a whopping 3 bars, so definitely make sure you've got the meter to spend and the combo is worth the cost. Oh, and actually, I lied. There's a third way to perform a drive rush, which is to press forward twice and then do a drive parry. Doing it this way will actually cause the drive rush to come out as fast as possible, and is necessary in order to perform some tricky drive rush combos. The one key thing to know about drive rush is that the first move you use out of it will get plus 4 frames of advantage, whether it hits or is blocked. What this means is that you can move 4 frames faster than you would have been able to if you used that move outside of drive rush. This is helpful in several ways. It can make high-risk moves that would typically be punishable safe on block. It can make moves that were already safe on block into frame traps. And on hit, it can make moves that typically wouldn't combo into anything, comboable. Drive rushes are also great to use after knocking an opponent down to quickly get back up in their face and continue pressuring. This is especially strong with characters that have overhead normals, like Ryu, or command throws, like Manon. If your opponent is playing very patiently from a distance, you can also check their reactions by drive rushing into a quick low poke, like a crouching light or medium kick. Basically, drive rushes are amazing, and just by using them effectively, you'll dramatically level up your game. Drive reversals can be performed by pressing forward and the 2 heavy buttons at the same time while blocking an attack. Not much to say about them other than the fact that you shouldn't forget that they exist. If you're going up against an opponent that is just relentlessly pressuring you, drive reversal is a good way to get them off of you and reset the situation. And it's especially valuable to get someone off of you while you're in the corner. And then we've got overdrives. These are pretty much just EX moves, but the one general tip I'll say about them is to be careful about how frequently you use them, because you can very quickly burn yourself out if you get too overdrive happy. You should have a reason for using the overdrive version of a move, even if it's as simple as adding on extra damage. Taking Ryu as an example, an overdrive Hadouken can be used to go through an enemy's projectile. An Overdrive Shoryuken has full invincibility, so it can be used as an invincible wake-up. An Overdrive Tatsumaki can lead to big damage in a corner combo, and the Overdrive Hashogeki is super fast and leaves Ryu at a +3 frame advantage, making you able to act 3 frames before your opponent can. And now let's move on to Drive Impact. I'll say this right now, if you do not know how to counter Drive Impacts, you're going to have a hard time in Street Fighter 6. Likewise, if you never pose the threat of Drive Impacts, you're missing out on one of your greatest weapons. A Drive Impact can be performed by pressing the heavy punch and heavy kick button at the same time, or whatever single button macro you map it to. And if your opponent gets hit while they're in the middle of an attack, they will get crumpled, lose a bar of drive meter, and be in a position to eat a full combo. Even if it's blocked, it's safe and will blow the opponent backwards. If they hit a wall, they wall splat for a quick free combo. If they've depleted their drive meter and are in burnout and get wall splatted, they will be stunned, allowing your opponent to do literally their highest possible damage combo for free. So yeah, it's a really strong move, but there's an equally strong defense. By using your own Drive Impact before theirs hits, you'll absorb their blow and turn the tables on them. Failing that, you can try to anticipate it by neutral jumping and earn a big punish. It may initially seem hard to react to, but 26 frames is actually not that bad, if you are looking out for it. You can test yourself by attempting a reflex test online. 26 frames on a 60 frames per second game works out to be about 433 milliseconds. So if your average reflex time is well below that, you can do this. Practice the Drive Impact Defense Practice Simple Training setting in the training mode, and you should become much more proficient at defending against random raw Drive Impacts while in neutral. Also be aware that Drive Impacts count as special attacks, which means you can cancel into them from special cancelable moves. Once again, using Ryu as an example, if you use his crouching medium kick and it gets absorbed by the opponent, you don't have to wait for your crouching medium kick to finish its animation. You can cancel right into a Drive Impact to counter. However, if you use standing medium kick, that move is not special cancelable, and you will not be able to counter the Drive Impact if it's absorbed by the opponent. If you encounter an enemy that loves to use Drive Impacts, consider using more light attacks in your pressure. Every time an attack hits, it'll cause a time stop effect that gives you more time to react and respond. Just make sure that the lights you're using are special cancelable. And those are our tips on how to use the drive system in Street Fighter 6. Thanks for watching, and for more Street Fighter 6, make sure to check out my full review. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.